All right, everybody out there, Fix It with Phil here. I'm sitting with John Kaufman, our regional sales team leader, and he has created a frequently asked questions list about the brand new Operator Pro Plus. Yes. And we are just going to go down through these questions and get everyone out there some solid answers so that they can understand the benefits of what we're offering our customers.
Sounds good, Phil. First question that I came up with that with our team was like, what's the main difference between the original pump stand and our new pump stand?
The biggest difference is the layout of the pump stand. The functionality is basically the same, but it's the layout. And what we were able to do with changing the layout of the stand is we've actually separated it into two pieces, and we have what we call our utility stand, which comes with the electrical cabinet on the side that houses all the VFDs and all of our wiring points. Along with that utility stand, you can get up to 3 Dosatron functions integrated within the system. So our old stand, you had to actually hang those, like your foamy brush, a tire brush, or a spatter gun function. You had to hang those on the wall separately and then auxiliary wire those in. Now that's integrated to the stand, so the end user doesn't have to wire any of that stuff separately. They don't have to hang anything on the wall. It's all part of the utility stand. And the second half of that stand is what we deem our HP stand. The HP stand consists of all of our pumps and motors. On top of each of those stands are all of our chemical housing tanks and our cold and hot water housing tanks. We're just eliminating floor space being taken up by auxiliary tanks. We're eliminating wall space being taken up. And the biggest thing is we're eliminating a lot of the work on the end user or the installer's behalf.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of like floor space, what is the size of the?
It is each stand is 30 by 32.
Okay.
Our pumping stand is 30 by 32, and our utility stand is 32 by 32.
So basically, you can fit that through like a regular doorway, you know?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Your average passageway door into an equipment room, this will fit in through that doorway. That is also why we broke it into 2 stands, because it's much easier to move.
Okay. Cool. That sounds great. Moving on to the next question, what's included in the base PSP model? Like, what is a customer getting?
So the base PSP model comes with HP rinse, HP soap, HP wax, medium pressure pre-soak, low pressure tire. We're sending that out with a Dosatron for foam brush. We're sending that out with a Dosatron for a spatter gun. That secondary Dosatron could be converted into like a tire brush, and it also comes standard with spot-free delivery.
Okay. So if I'm a new car wash operator owner, could you explain to me what does HP mean?
HP is high pressure.
Okay.
Yep. So we're sending out high pressure soap, high pressure rinse, and high pressure wax. If you didn't want to deliver your wax at high pressure, we could do that at medium or low pressure if you wanted to.
Okay.
So those options are very flexible in what pressures we would want to deliver these items at.
So like my bug off or my spatter gun, that would be considered low pressure. That runs through the PSP?
You can, if you were to eliminate, like if you didn't want to run pre-soak, but you knew you were going to run bug off all year, we could not, in the pre-soak tank, we would just mix bug off instead.
Yep.
And we could denote on the sales order what pressure you wanted that to go out at.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome stuff. Next question that our team came up with, or what are some of the add-ons to the Operator Pro? Like, what more can you add when you're talking to the sales rep here at Kleen-Rite? Different things that you think you might want to utilize in your wash.
Well, if you standardly had a 10-position dial and you wanted to go to a 12-position dial, you could add that third Dosatron function. You could do tire brush, We've actually come up with a great concept of doing tire fill as well. So instead of having air machines all around your lot, you could actually pipe that air with poly tubing to your bay and have that available for your customer right in the bay.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So I guess I have a question, just being a layman here. The Dosatrons, what do they do?
The Dosatron is basically a replacement pumping system for what people would know as the flow jet. So a flow jet was air driven.
Yes.
And a Dosatron is water driven.
Okay.
So some of the energy efficiencies we're looking at within the pump stand itself is we're consuming less air.
Yep.
We're still putting air on top of the Dosatron products out at the bay to get that beautiful shaving cream, but we're not using that compressor air to run the pump. We're using city water pressure to run the pump, and that's, obviously we're paying for water, but we can harness the energy that the city is giving us and use that through the Dosatron and try to save some money on running that compressor as much.
That's interesting. So basically, like what weep versus non-weep? That seems to be an add-on on the list. What can you explain a little bit between the weep and non-weep?
Yeah, so a weep system is how us guys up here in the Northeast region in the colder sections, everybody likes to run weep. So we're using the Dixmoor Weep Miser, which has been a standard in the industry for forever. And the weep option comes pre-plumbed for you to be able to weep your HP guns and any of the brush functions that you get.
Okay.
That comes pre-plumbed and pre-wired.
Yeah.
So all the customer has to do is supply power to that, and they're off and running.
So basically, if I add that as an add-on when I place my order Kleen-Rite, that's going to come with it, going to be on the unit. It's not something I have to hang on the wall, nothing like that.
All completely integrated.
Wow, that's huge.
Yes.
Spot-free connections. Can you talk a little bit about that, maybe?
Yeah, so we're doing spot-free delivery from the stand. We are not producing it. So we, when a customer would order the stand, they would need to know, obviously, that they need a production unit if they don't have one. But from that production unit, they can supply a 1-inch hose to our spot-free manifold, and that is literally all they have to do.
Wow, that's nice. So it has to be a 1-inch?
Yeah, we like to do it with the 1-inch because of the head pressure that we get with a 1-inch and the flow rate through the 1-inch line. We're just eliminating any chances of getting cavitation in the pumps.
Makes sense. Speaking cavitation, what's cavitation mean? I have no idea.
So cavitation in a pump is when a pump head gets flooded with fluid.
Okay.
And as it's running, it's continually pulling the fluid in and then pushing it out the discharge side. Cavitation is when there's a break in that fluid or an air bubble, and that air gets into the pump head. It'll start to shake violently, all of those types of things. So the way that the pump stand is designed is that all of our tanks are up top, and we're using that head pressure to constantly put water pressure on the inlet side of the pump to guarantee that we don't get any cavitation.
Wow, that's huge.
Yes,
that's
big time.
Big time. Moving on to the next question that we talked about and discussed, Dosatron delivery system. How's that different from your standard low pressure system? I know we touched on it a little bit. Is there anything else that you might want to add to that?
Well, the biggest thing is that there's for me, it's the water driven instead of being air driven, right? The second thing is we don't need a hydrominder to dose out the chemicals into a holding tank.
That's huge.
The Dosatron does all of that contained within one pumping unit.
Wow.
And the scaling of dilution is built right in. It's adjustable on the fly. And the scale is much greater. We can dial that in to get the perfect show to the customer.
Yes.
But to also use the least amount of chemicals possible. So we're saving, energy efficiencies. We can say it's soap efficiencies at the same time, right?
So I'm a new car wash operator owner. Well, you're referencing scaling. What does that mean?
Scaling is how much water to soap ratio we're delivering.
Okay.
So through a hydrominder, which are also on the stands, that's how we mix the chemicals on the top in the holding tanks. There are set tips that you can put in there for a certain ratio.
Okay.
The Dosatron itself has a set ratio, of 50 to 500.
All right.
And we can literally scale at any minute setting in between there.
So is there a dial on that you can do that with?
It's actually a metering stem on the bottom that shows that scale, and you can just dial that up or down on the fly as it's running to really tune in what your customers are getting.
As it's running, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's good stuff to know. So another question we came up with, will the customer have to actually handle any of the things inside the control box, or is it set coming out of production? Is it set?
Yeah, so all of our VFDs come pre-programmed. None of those parameters need to be touched. Really, the only thing inside the control box the customer or the installer will have to do is the supply voltage.
Okay.
So our supply power to the panel, that's going to power the entire panel, and then they'll have to land their coinbox wiring onto the labeled terminal strip. Other than that, the only other thing that's really in there that's available to do is you could finally tune in the speed relays to get your timing perfect. We do set them before they leave the factory here.
Okay.
But, some people really want to get to the nitty gritty of it. You could go in there and tune that a little bit more perfectly for your site, but 9 times out of 10, that's not needed.
You mentioned a VFD. No idea what that is. What is that?
Yeah, so a VFD is a variable frequency drive.
Okay.
And that is how we are creating high, medium, and low pressures.
Okay.
And the way that we do that with a variable speed drive is we're changing the hertz that we're sending to the motor, which directly correlates to changing the speed that the motor rotates.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The motor is what rotates the pump. So as the motor slows down in RPM, the pump slows down in RPM, so we're effectively changing how much pressure that pump is making.
Okay. What's the benefit of that? I mean, are you saving energy, or what's good about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of things right off the top of the head. The biggest thing for me is inrush current on the motor itself.
Okay.
So inrush current is old style of doing it, is a contactor. It closes, we send full voltage to the motor right away. It gets an inrush spike of amperage, which is hard on the windings of the motor. And we're basically asking it to go from 0 to 100 now.
Okay.
With the VFD, we can do it in a curve. And we're actually ramping that RPM up slowly.
Okay.
So that inrush current or electrical consumption goes down.
All right.
And the use or the abuse on the motor comes down as well. The other things that's great about using a VFD system above and beyond the electrical consumption is the wear and tear on the pump that is directly attached to the motor.
Yeah. So essentially, we're basically putting the lifespan of the pump and the motor. We're extending it.
Absolutely.
Yep. That's huge. That is huge. Wow. That's good to know. You said something about in your comments there about bringing your coinbox wire out to the pump stand, and you said something about a labeled wiring diagram or something like that. Can you elaborate on that? So, I have my coinbox, and then I have to bring the wires into the pump stand.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate? Because like I said, I'm new at this. I don't really know.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Operator Pro Plus does require a 3-stack rotary switch, and we need that 3-stack switch because we need 3 signals to happen at the same time to command the stand to do what we want it to do. As far as like a wiring diagram, each stand comes with its own wiring diagram. All of the wires on the terminal are color-coded and labeled.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's very easy for an installer or for the end user to pull that new bundle of wire from the coin box. Hopefully you guys are getting new coin boxes at the same time.
True.
And land that into the electrical cabinet for the Operator Pro Plus.
So the Operator Pro Plus, if I'm listening to you correctly, so your coin box has to have a 3-stack switch.
Yes.
Can't use a 2.
No.
How come? So you need that other?
We need that 3rd stack because we're asking the pump stand to do multiple things at one time.
All right.
And 2 signals is not enough to accomplish that. We need that 3rd signal to accomplish
Makes sense.
that.
That's good information to know. Next question: what would the customer have to purchase to work in conjunction with the Operator Pro Plus? I mean, we sell brand new coin boxes. If their customers' coin boxes are 20 years out of date,
it's probably time to upgrade, right?
Upgrade. You can get that 3-stack rotary switch right away.
Pre-wired by us.
Pre-wired by you. We have bigger boxes. We have a lot of different options. So that's something that a customer might want to look into as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great time when you're replacing your pump stand to really do an overall health check at your car wash, right? You're upgrading that pump stand. You're upgrading things in your bay, maybe a coin box, maybe booms, stuff like that. But if you're at that 10 function switch, it might be time to jump to a 12.
Sure.
Do you have air chamois? Do you have that tire fill that we offer now?
Yeah, the tire fill.
Are you doing tire brush? What else can you do to have your customer spend more time in the bay?
Yes.
And that, when you're looking at upgrading your equipment, that's the perfect time to take a self audit or a car wash audit and say, how can I make this help me in the long run better?
Well, if you're adding more functions, you're adding more time to the customer, which you're adding to your bottom line.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's
which pays
huge.
for that pump stand faster.
Yes, you're making an investment for the customer, and then you're helping. It's twofold. You're helping your customer and you're helping your business.
Yep.
Which is great. Quick step back. You had mentioned a splatter gun. What's a splatter gun?
So a spatter gun is a short-handled, low-pressure gun that has a bigger tip in it, which allows a different pattern for a spray of chemicals. So things that would go through the spatter gun is like your triple foam. You could do a single foam conditioner. You could do your ceramic through that. You can actually do bug off through that, desalt through that, all those great types of functions.
So are a lot of people starting to go towards the ceramic now through those splatter guns? I mean, I've seen it in a couple washes locally here. I know Mark in-house here has them at his wash.
Yeah, and it's going really, really well, and it's a really nice finish shine on the car, and I know that he's had some great success with that. We're kind of taking that from the tunnel guys. The tunnel guys stepped in, said, hey, we're going to start doing ceramic, and we said, well, we can do it just as good.
That's awesome. I have a note here. What's a WFD kit?
I believe that's the bay kit.
Oh, the bay kit. Okay. Can you elaborate on that? I think that is what it is, yeah.
So the bay kit, and
we don't have to get into the fine details, but do we offer... So I guess the question is, we're going to be offering a kit that comes with the Operator Pro.
Yeah, so when you guys are looking at getting this Operator Pro, we've gone through and done the work for you, the leg work for you already on bay kits. So if you say, hey, I'm just going to redo the whole deal.
Yes.
Like I need booms, I need brushes, guns, the whole nine. We offer that all packed in one kit, so you don't have to try to remember every little fitting.
So if I'm calling Kleen-Rite, I get a hold of Eric Hawkins, and I want to purchase an Operator Pro. And I say to Eric Hawkins, what else do I need? We have those kits.
Yep.
We can send all that stuff to our customer, and they can just rock and roll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. So, I think that's a good thing to know as a customer, just because if you get your Operator Pro, you're ready to install it, and you're like, wait a minute. What else do I need? I need all these other things.
Yeah.
So we offer that package.
Yeah, we took the legwork out of that. We made it really simplistic.
That's
so
huge.
That, the huge undertaking of putting a piece of equipment in, you don't have to try to think through every little nut and bolt, fitting, check valves, so on and so forth.
Yep.
That's all inside that bay kit and taken care of for you.
Okay. I think a huge important question that a lot of customers are going to have, and I have one myself, is there going to be a diagram or anything, any informational piece sent along with this Operator Pro so I know how to install it, or my installer knows how to install it?
Yes, we are continually and constantly working on the manual, making it better, putting more information in that. There comes, with the Operator Pro Plus, comes a small manual for the Dosatron. All of the paperwork that comes with the parts that we're using, we supply one set of that within the stand itself, a wiring diagram, a manual, and then to boot with that, there's a QR code on the inside of the door. For some reason, you lose the wiring diagram. For some reason, you lose that manual. You can scan that QR code. It takes you right to our website and right to all the information you need.
That's huge. I know I'm a little old school, and I like to read my manuals, and I do have the QR code, but I like to talk to somebody on the phone sometimes. So if I have my Operator Pro, got it hooked up, everything's running great, run into a little snafu, is there any way I can call somebody here at Kleen-Rite to get some answers?
Yep. And more than likely, you'll end up talking to me.
Okay, that's good to know.
Technical assistance is available. We can walk you through whatever issue you think you might be having, and we'll get you to the finish line every time.
We know you're a busy guy. Rocking and rolling. So if we can't get a hold of you right away, probably best just to leave a message with our sales team, get the information to you, and you'll gladly call them back.
Yep,
okay.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Awesome. So I guess a big question I would have is a new operator or owner, don't really know what I'm doing in terms of install. Does Kleen-Rite have an avenue for me to find an installer, or is there a program for that with Kleen-Rite?
Absolutely. We are constantly and diligently working on finding the best installers across the U.S. to install this equipment for operators that don't have the time, operators that might not have the know-how.
Yes.
Or just really want some professional help getting their stand in and making sure that it's done right the first time.
Okay.
So that is available. You can ask about an install team when you call in for a quote about the stand.
Yep.
And we can set you up with a distributor, and they will get you taken care of.
Sounds good. I think that's the list of questions I have here for us. Can't think of anything else. I mean, if anybody has any questions, always call into our sales support team.
Yep. So if you need an installer or you need any information about the pump stand or any other thing that you got going on at the car wash, give us a call here at Kleen-Rite and we'll get you fixed up.
Kleen-Rite.